Hey y'all. Okay, I'm going to share with you guys a very inspirational story of how a child, okay, this person is a grown woman now with children and everything and a husband, but as a child, she was abused physically and sexually, kidnapped and tortured, okay? And she broke free of that after many years of dealing with this. And now she lives a normal life. She's married with children and all of that. So this was published yesterday. Or I'm sorry, today. Okay. The name of the article is Woman Kidnapped at 9 years old and Raped for Weeks while she was chained inside a makeshift dungeon hidden 10 feet below the ground, reveals how years of prior sex abuse helped her survive. Her name is Katie Beers. Katie Beers was kidnapped by family friend John Esposito in 1992, just days before her 10th birthday. Esposito then took the child to an underground dungeon he had built for her, where he kept her chained by the neck inside a makeshift coffin. Katie, now 34 years old and married with 2 children, recounted the 17 days of torture and sexual abuse she endured. She had been sexually abused for 8 years prior to her kidnapping by her godmother's husband, who was her guardian at the time. Katie believes that devastating reality helped her keep calm during her captivity and ultimately saved her life. Esposito turned himself in 17 days after he kidnapped Katie, with the young girl believing that she had managed to influence his decision by discussing their future. This little girl, this woman was such a brave little girl. A young woman who was kidnapped by a family friend and kept hidden away in a concrete dungeon where she slept inside a makeshift coffin for 17 days is speaking out about the harrowing ordeal and how she managed to survive. Katie Beers, now 34, participated in a Reddit AMA on Thursday, during which she revealed that the years of sexual abuse she suffered at the hands of her godmother's husband prepared her for the ordeal. And that's how it is, y'all. God works in mysterious ways. She was just 9 when she was abducted by John Esposito in 1992, who lured her in with the promise of a gift for her upcoming birthday. Esposito then took her to his house, where he kept her in a dungeon he had specifically built for her that was buried under his garage and hidden by a 200-pound slab of concrete. Linoleum flooring and carpeting covered the trapdoor, which was tucked away in a closet whose entrance was obscured by a bookcase. Katie was trapped there in almost complete darkness for close to 3 weeks, while her captor sexually abused her and police were just feet away, having set up a command post on Esposito's lawn, unable to hear the girl's screams because she was buried away below the ground. This is her when she got kidnapped. A little 9-year-old girl, right before her 10, you might as well say. And this is the sick man that kidnapped her, John Esposito. What a sick bastard. Excuse my language, but he is. And this is her with her family now. Her and her husband, and she has children. Katie explained that her life was already a nightmare long before her abduction. Part of the reason... Sorry. Yeah, I'm trying to get this. Part of the reason, she has said in past interviews, that she was able to keep calm I should have been in foster care from the time I was 2 or even younger. I was sexually abused by my aunt's husband from the time that I was 2 until I was abducted by a family friend when I was almost 10, said Katie. I was also physically, emotionally, and verbally abused by all the adults who were supposed to take care of me, as well as neglected. CPS did come to the house to do interviews with me, but it's difficult to be truthful with CPS workers when they're interviewing you in the house where the abuse is occurring in the exact room where it was occurring. She spent a good deal of her childhood living with her godmother, Linda Ingaleri, who has said in the past treated her like a slave, while her husband Salvatore sexually abused Katie. Esposito, who she called Big John, was a friend of the family, and on December 28, 1992, said he wanted to buy her a gift. He would later tell the police that after taking Katie to a toy store, they went to a nearby arcade where she disappeared, a story that immediately made him the prime suspect in this case. Police found nothing, however, when they set up a post on his property, despite the fact that Katie was just a few feet away. And this is a diagram that they have generated to show you how the trap thing that she was in. This is how it was. This garage, and then right here is, like the little makeshift coffin that she had underneath the garage that he had built for her. Sick. So this is the closet, the actual closet, where it goes down into. Oh, and this is what she was in for almost 2.5 weeks. Katie called her godmother soon after the abduction to say a man had taken her, and with the investigation heating up, Esposito decided to take a photo of Katie in which she looked dead and send it to police. She refused, however, and made herself stay awake for most of her time in the dungeon so that he could not get the shot. Oh, okay. Yeah, so he couldn't get the picture of her. Katie said in her AMA that Esposito sexually assaulted her for the first time on the day he took her, and also revealed that when he did turn himself in, she believed that the police entering the dungeon were men he had brought to sexually assault her. Esposito's confession put him in jail for 15 years to life, and he was never charged with the rape or sexual assault of Katie. He died while incarcerated in 2013, shortly after a parole hearing. There are times that my memory is more clear about the day I was abducted. As part of my coping mechanism, I blocked out the experience, explained Katie. When working on her memoir, Buried Memories, I had to allow myself to re-experience the memories. There are things that will randomly trigger my memories, and I've learned how to deal with them. Katie was then sent to live with a foster family, and the revelations about the abuse she had been suffering put her godmother's husband behind bars. She credits her foster family with giving her the safe environment she had been in desperate need for years. And now she herself is a married mother with 2 young children. This is her godmother. She looks like one of those crazy women that you see on movies that do stuff like this, Sick, man. So sad. This is her right here after they found her. Poor little thing. And look, and she's smiling. So sad. This breaks my heart. The most important part of Buried Memories is not the abuse that I sustained, But that because of my support system afterwards, that I was able to come out on the other side and have a somewhat normal childhood, teenage years, and adulthood, Katie said in her AMA. But to understand how far I came and the hurdles that I jumped, you have to understand what I encountered and endured. She told 2020 back in a 2013 interview, "My life is exactly what I always wanted. 2 parents who love me, siblings who are amazing, and a husband and 2 kids." In that same interview, she also offered more insight into how she managed to play mind games with her captor. "I definitely think that by trying to manipulate him into thinking about the future and things like that, I think that got him a little scared and worried about what the future was going to hold," said Katie. "When I asked Esposito how I would go to school, he told me that he would teach me what I needed to know. When I asked him how I would work, he would tell me that he had enough money for the 2 of us. When I asked him about getting married and having kids, he told me that when I was 18, he would marry me and have children with me. Days later, he turned himself in and Katie was set free." You know, reading this reminds me of a movie, and I cannot remember. I can't remember what the movie was, but it was similar to this. An older man kidnapped like a little girl, and you know, it sounds so similar to this movie, and I cannot remember what the heck the movie was, but I'm pretty sure it was on Lifetime. But you know, it's scary because you gotta trust who your kids are around. But these people, they did not care about her anyways. I mean, the man was abusing her and the woman was just using her for, you know, to do everything for her because she just looks lazy and wants to probably sit around and eat and sleep all day. But, you know, the thing is, though, after all of the sadness and the fear that this poor little girl right here went through, she was so brave, and she's a hero for herself. Okay, you know, like I said, y'all, God works in mysterious ways, and you know, he knows what's gonna happen to us before we do, you know. And you know, things are like, it's like, gosh, this child went through so much. But let me tell you, if she had not endured what she had beforehand, you know, if she hadn't been abused before and everything and just been a 10-year-old child getting abducted, with her being so scared and not knowing what to do, she probably would not have lived through it. She might have, but most of the time, little kids like that, when they get abducted, they end up getting killed because the people, the kidnappers, the abductors, you know, they get scared and they panic and they do whatever it is they do. This little girl right here was able to stay calm enough to think and to get herself out of this situation. And she's the one that came out on top. The man never got charged with raping her or kidnapping her or whatever it was. But y'all, he died right after that. He died after he went to jail. You know? And look at her. You know, now she lives a normal life. You know, and I'm sure she's got struggles every day like we all do. But I'm sure she has things that she struggles with. But like I said, she's learned to cope with that. You know? And God bless her. It's Katie Beers is her name. What a strong woman and child she is. And I give her the ultimate props for what she did, because it's amazing to me, you know. You don't really see a lot of 10-year-old kids that go through that and live through this, to talk about it. So just wanted to bring a little bit of awareness to you guys and a little bit of inspiration. You guys have a great night. Happy New Year. Be safe. And I will be back on here later. Happy New Year.